Oh, hey everyone. It's me once again. And in this video, it's going to be a film review, and I'm going to review a film that I saw earlier this night, and it's called Salo, or The 120 Days of Sodom. And it was written and directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini and released in 1975. Okay, I'll start off by saying that this film, as most of you probably already know, was extremely controversial upon its release, and it was actually banned in several countries around the world because of its very disturbing and graphic content. And it pretty much lives up to that name during the course of the film, even though it's 2012. It's even by today's standards, it's pretty gruesome and dark and graphic film. I mean, there are dozens of other films that have been released over the years that are much more disturbing and graphic than this film, obviously, but it's still a very effective and dark film, even for today. Now, personally, the basic plot of the film basically deals with a bunch of corrupt fascist libertines living in 1944 Salo, which was a state in northern Italy, I believe, during World War II. And what these men do, they're very wealthy, and they live on this estate somewhere in I'm guessing Salo, which is actual place in the real world, and they kidnap 18 teenage boys and girls, and they take them to their compound or estate, which, despite the grim subject matter of the film, is actually very beautiful and very very pretty looking, very good looking. But it's kind of like a contradiction compared to what the film is about, honestly. Anyway, so basically what they do is, over the course of 4 months, they subject them to humiliation, depravity, torture, and they eventually kill them at the end of the film. And basically, it deals with several different themes, such as corruption, power, fascism, sexuality, and depravity. Basically how power corrupts people is basically what the whole gist of the film, I suppose, is. Anyway, so what happens in the film? It's divided into four segments, or circles as they're called. There's the Anti-Inferno, the Circle of Manias, the Circle of Shit, and the Circle of Blood. Now, out of all those circles, I think that the most disturbing or disgusting one was the Circle of Shit, because in that circle, or part of the film, there's actually several scenes where the kids are forced to eat feces, human feces. There's one scene where this guy craps on the floor, this girl is forced to crawl up to it and eat it off the floor. It's really degrading and disgusting, and she's crying and gagging, and basically any person would in that situation. Basically because she was crying about her mother who died trying to protect her and stuff like that, and it's really gruesome, disturbing scene. And the film is disturbing not just for the graphic physical acts that happen, but also the mental things that go on in the film. They tell a lot of stories, really disturbing stories, these prostitutes that they send over there, and they're always telling these really disgusting stories about how they were raped, or these men forced them to do these disgusting things, pissing in it. You have to see the film to see for yourself, basically. I don't want to explain everything to you. And it's also, there's tons of scenes where they're having sex between, there's gay sex and straight sex or heterosexual sex. Also, there's tons of scenes of nudity and penises and vaginas and depravity. And there's also a scene where they're they act like dogs and they eat food off of a tray. It's really bizarre and kind of weirdly funny, but kind of disturbing at the same time. And I have to say, as far as disturbing goes, a lot of the scenes felt like they were just trying to shock. That there wasn't really any point around them, because there's a lot of unnecessary violence and nudity throughout the course of the film, and this seems kind of pandering at times. Just my view of it. Because I don't really know the whole political climate of the time, so I'm not really know a lot of depth about how situation panned out in those days, but apparently there was a reason why Pier Paolo Pasolini decided to adapt a film that was based on a book called The 120 Days of Sodom, which was written by Marquis de Sade, believe it or not. He was an 18th century general sicko or whack job. You look him up to see for yourself. Anyway, the whole film was based off a book by the Marquis de Sade, and he was a very sick man. It's a very sick film also. And actually, Pier Paolo Pasolini was actually murdered after this film was finished. He was actually murdered under mysterious circumstances. So that just shows how graphic and disturbing it was at the time and still is today. Now, as far as you want to watch this film, personally, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It was still kind of disturbing and graphic at times. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And if you can watch like Hostel or The Human Centipede or Turistas or Cabin Fever or The Thing, then you probably could watch this as well, because it's pretty much as far as like the physical acts as far as that goes, but like the mental, like the degradation is also pretty disturbing as well, and that's also another factor to consider when watching this film, just to give you a heads up. So basically, I give it like it was a very beautiful film, very good cinematography and sound and all that, and the actors and actresses are actually quite attractive looking as well. Most of them are, and also a lot of them look a lot like me for some strange reason. A lot of them have like kind of resemble me in some ways, so I guess that also affected me in many ways. It was a very good film, and it was okay, but it wasn't as good as it could have been, and a lot of it felt like just pure shock value. So I don't know what his intention was behind this, so I really can't really say behind all that. So basically, give it a 3 out of 5, and you can just comment and tell me what you thought about it, and thought it was any good, or how it affected you, or your interpretation of the film. Because I've heard it interpreted in many different ways, and I just wanted to know what many people thought about it. So yeah, thanks for listening, and feel free to comment below and tell me what you think about it. Thanks.